Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Top 5 Saturdays Live with me, Chase Lee, and my co-host,
Brian Sutfield.
That's fucking right. And hey, listen, this is a show where we will we'll take the movie's coming out Friday, and we'll pick like a director, actor, genre, what have you. We'll make a top 5 list in honor of said movie coming out this weekend. And the cool thing about the show is that it's live, so we have no idea what the hell's going to come out of our mouths. And another thing is we don't know each other's lists, so it's really really fun. So welcome. If you're listening on Spreaker and you want a video version of this podcast, the link will be in the description below for that. And if you're listening on YouTube and you want an audio only version, then link will be in the description below. And I got these nifty little headers. Look at this. You guys like this shit? Yeah, it's some good stuff. So basically, since I learned how to operate this now, at the bottom, when we're doing each spot, like spot number 5, 4, 3, 2, etc., I will have it listed on the header. So if you guys want to skip ahead, do whatever you want, then you have that option. You can see what we're talking about, because these do go on for a while. So hey, if you want to skip around, it's all good. So first of all, Brian, how are you doing? How are you doing today?
I'm well. How are you?
Doing fine. I have a feeling this list is going to pertain a lot of for Brian, maybe baseball movies and boxing movies, and for me, people expect football movies because of where I'm from. So with that being said, Brian, what are we tackling today?
Sports films in honor of race.
That is correct. And listen, this is all sports. So baseball, football, hockey, basketball, soccer, whatever has come out in the history of film is eligible for this list. So we're talking of all time. Like this is going to be interesting because I don't know which way Brian's going to swing. Like, I don't know if he's going to put a boxing movie as his number 1. He does like baseball movies, so I don't know if he's going to put that up there, or if he's got like a football movie I don't know about. So it's going to be very interesting. I think when you guys look at my list, you're going to be like, no. So I'm not scared of my list, but just know that there's a lot of the way I approach this list is there are a few movies on there that are actually like good films. But for the most part, I have movies that I grew up on, sports movies I watched as a kid, and that inspired me and made me want to go play that sport, or just I felt really nostalgic watching it and stuff, and it has stuck with me. And I do count that as one of the best of all time, especially if it does stick with you in that regard. So before we begin, Brian, like when you watch a sports movie, regardless of the sport, like what do you look for in a sports movie? Do you look for the underdog story? Do you look for like a rise and fall situation? Do you look for great character study? Like what do you look for in a sports film?
All those things that you just brought up, every single one.
Well, what's your favorite though? Like what do you like watching the most? Like what's your like kind of I don't know, like you get
probably the underdog.
Okay.
The underdog.
Yeah, the underdog story is like one of the most popular stories ever told on screen, period. And there's a lot of movies like that. I'm just gonna say it right now. One of my favorite sports genres with the underdog story is boxing. I love boxing movies to a point where like I know how they all end up. The person is good at the beginning, and then he kind of slumps in the middle, and then he rises at the very end and kicks everyone's ass. And that's what's satisfying about boxing movies, is because they can hit the shit out of these people, and you're just like, yeah, you feel satisfied. That's why I like Southpaw so much. All those fucking haters out there. So I'm gonna let you guys know right now there's definitely no boxing movies on my list, but I do appreciate the genre for what it is. But I just had to say that. Brian, so what is your favorite sport type of movie? Do you like the football ones the most, the baseball ones the most, the boxing ones the most?
That's really it's always between baseball and boxing. It's always between those particular two.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. And hey, listen, I live in Texas, and this state lives and breathes football in a very unhealthy way. Like, I'm pretty sure everyone wakes up with a fucking pigskin in their mouth, and they just love to chew on it. Listen, I like football movies a lot, and I own like 6 of them. I was like looking at my collection earlier today, and I enjoy them quite a lot. But they're not like my go-to. Like I have a couple favorites and stuff, but like it's just, you know, they're fine for what they are, and they can be very inspiring. And all sports movies rely on who they cast as the coach. Believe it or not, usually the coach is the one that fuels the movie, and that's why movies like you know, this isn't my list, but like movies like Any Given Sunday, what do you remember the most? You remember Al Pacino. So that's what I'm saying. It just sports films, it just depends. Like sometimes you watch it for the specific person that's being portrayed. Sometimes they're completely fictional, and you know, you just like watching because of the entertainment value. There's a lot of factors that go into sports movies, but this is our top 5 of all time. This is going to get really, really bloody. This is going to be a boxing match in itself. So I'm really fascinated to see what Brian has started out with. So with that being said, you see it, guys? You see that nifty little header at the bottom? We're at number 5 right now. So Brian, what is in before we begin, I have this trusty little board right here, so I will show our answers at the end of this. Just to let you guys know. So Brian, what is your number 5 favorite sports film of all time?
Before I get into my list, I want to say that each slot contains a different sport. I didn't want to go with like 15 foot. I didn't want to go with just football or just baseball. I wanted to go with a different sport each slot.
Okay,
so,
I will attest to that and say I did the same exact thing. So keep that in mind.
Okay, so my number 5, I'm going with basketball. My number 5, I'm picking Glory Road.
I never saw that one, so tell me about
it. Josh Lucas plays a coach, and he decides to coach a basketball team at a small college, which then becomes University of Texas El Paso. So, I mean, at the time, this was in the 60s, so this was a little different back to when basketball wasn't that big, and it was a very small college, like I said. This is a good film. I just watched it for the first time a few weeks ago. I think Josh Lucas does a great job in this film. Derek Luke's in it, and he played Antoine Fisher in, I think, one of the most underrated films I've ever seen. Antoine Fisher, it's awesome. It's dope. And what I love about this film is that I'm not really a basketball fan. I played when I was younger. I was more of a sports fan when I was younger than I am now. But what I could say is that this film was engaging. It was heartfelt. It's from Disney, and Disney is the bomb when it comes to sports films. Like, there may be another one on this list somewhere. I'm not going to say which one. But I think this is a very enjoyable basketball film with a lot of good heart. Jon Voight appears at the end of it, and he is a prick like he is in pretty much every single film that he's in. And I think it's a very well-made film. It's very underrated. It received very mixed reviews when it came out. For a January film, this was 10 years ago, and I thought was a pretty strong film. I couldn't really think of any other basketball films, but if I had to give an honorable mention, it would be He Got Game. Like, that's another basketball film that's there by a close second because I love that film, and I'm a big Denzel fan and Spike Lee fan, so that makes sense. So yeah, Glory Road is my number 5.
Yeah, I haven't. I'm gonna be honest with you. I haven't really seen a basketball movie that was so good I had to put it on my list. I don't have any basketball movies. Period. I did see one last year. It was the documentary on Dirk Nowitzki. Like, that was a really good one. I really liked kind of his story and like kind of his upbringing and stuff. And he's just a guy that worked really hard and to where he is at now. He's definitely one of the most popular athletes in Dallas. That's for sure. I've never. Like I said, I've just never been a fan of basketball movies, and maybe I haven't seen enough. I've only seen a few, so that might be the reason. The only one I can even think of, like, because if you want to get like super cheesy, the only ones I really have seen, Space Jam and Like Mike. Do you remember that shit with Lil Bow Wow?
Like Mike was the shit growing up. That was like my shit growing up.
I remember that fucking movie, like with Lil Bow Wow. It's insane.
Lil Bow.
Brian, did you see what Coach Carter with Samuel L. Jackson?
I have not seen the whole film. I really want to, though.
Was it good?
From what I've seen, I really like it. I just never got around to finishing it.
That is one that has like stuck out to me because I see it everywhere. So I'm just like, oh, I should give it a shot or whatever. Yeah, it's interesting, number 5. But like I said, I haven't seen it, so I can't really combat with it. So you picked that one. Now, I was really adamant on not putting any comedies on my list just because, I feel like this is like an all-time list. However, I had to. I had to put a comedy on there, and
I knew you would.
I have to. Listen, comedies that didn't make my list, like Major League or Slapshot or even Basketball. I love that fucking movie. If you guys haven't seen Basketball with Matt Stone and Trey Parker, like they're literally playing in the movie, like they're not animated or anything. Watch it. It's pretty awesome. I picked another one, and I think it's just because I don't really like the sport in general. I think it's boring as hell. And I think this movie really elevated it into like a comedic atmosphere that's just so much fun to watch. And it is one of the prehistoric relics of Adam Sandler's career. I'm going with Happy Gilmore. I love that movie from start to finish. It's funny as all hell. It makes fun of golf. I love the fact that everyone's so calm when they play it, but Happy is just so aggressive with his shot because he used to play hockey in the movie, and so that's why he uses that like really powerful wrist shot. And I like it. It's just a fun movie. It's really funny and very memorable. Now listen, people are probably yelling at me right now, and they're probably like, "Well, what about Major League?" I haven't seen it in a long time to where I could justify putting it on my list as all time. Same with Slapshot. I've seen both of those, and I think they're quite entertaining and funny, and great spoofs on baseball or hockey or whatever. I just haven't seen them in a while to where I felt comfortable to put it on there. So I'm putting Happy Gilmore for the sheer entertainment value of it. It's just a funny golf movie. That's all I could really say. So yeah, and I know a lot of people are like, well, what about Caddyshack? I don't really consider that a sports film. It's it takes place at a golf course, right, Brian? Like I haven't seen it in quite some time.
I was just about to ask. Like I was about to say another funny golf film is Caddyshack. I looked it up, and Caddyshack is considered the golf film.
I mean, yes, it takes place on a golf course, but like it's not. In Happy Gilmore, he literally goes through a tournament. Like that's why I think of a sports film is like they actually play the game and like they progress as a character and all that stuff. So I think Happy Gilmore is like considered a sports film. Caddyshack does not. But yeah, it's pure entertainment value. Love it. So Brian, what do you think of Happy Gilmore?
I think it's entertaining as hell. It's one of Adam Sandler's best films.
It's
funny. It's
one of the funniest films of the 90s, that's for sure. And
yes, you eat pieces of shit for breakfast? No.
I eat pieces of shit like you for breakfast. And then he says that. And then of course I tell Brian this all the time. One of the best lines. It doesn't even contain Adam Sandler. It's Ben Stiller. He plays the male nurse at this like retirement home where he's taking care of Happy's grandmother, and he's running like this underground like quilt sewing ring in the building. It's hilarious. And so this old lady is like, oh, I can't sew anymore. My hands hurt. And Ben comes up to her and like he puts his hands on her back, and he's like, oh, well, that's unfortunate. Now your back's going to hurt because now you're going to be doing yard work. And, like, the way he delivers that with his slimy attitude in the movie, and then, like, he picks up the old lady and, like, pushes her, like out of the room. It kills me every single time. So, yeah, Happy Gilmore. It's one of the best Adam Sandler movies for sure. It's one of the funniest movies about golf. I like it. What can I say? So, Happy Gilmore is my number 5. And you guys are probably thinking, oh, shit, your list is going to be nothing but no. This is it. Don't worry. Everything else is going to be serious from here on out. But yeah, so with that being said, let's move on to number 4. So, Brian, what is your number 4 favorite sports film of all time?
I'm going with a football film, and that is Remember the Titans.
Ladies and gentlemen, ding, ding, ding. We have the same movie in the same slot. So you know what that means? We talk about it together. So that's actually really interesting because the last time I heard you talk about this movie, did we do Denzel?
No, not yet.
Who did we do over? Where we mentioned Remember the Titans at some point on the show.
Yeah, some like off camera or something.
Yeah. So anyway, I remember like you and I talked about it, and like it's one of the best live action Disney films of all time, and it's got one of the most memorable coaches. Like I said in the beginning, a sports movie is only as good as its coach. It really is. And if you think about Remember the Titans, Denzel Washington is a great fucking coach in that movie. And this is like back in the day when Disney actually decided to take some risk. Yes, is it kid friendly? Of course it is. It is still PG and it's still under the Disney house. However, this is one of those movies that Disney did kind of push the envelope a little bit in terms of the race segregation and whatnot dealing with in the movie. And I really appreciate that aspect. The football scenes are great. It's inspirational. And Denzel does deliver some really good monologues, just like Al Pacino does at the end of Any Given Sunday. Those are what I remember about the movie. And it's just a really great football movie. I will say this before I turn over to Brian. Out of all the football movies I own and have seen, I picked this one as the top. So movies like Varsity Blues, Friday Night Lights, Gridiron Gang, The Replacements, Any Given Sunday, or We Are Marshall, I like all of those. But there's something about Remember the Titans that has such a charm to it, but also it has like some serious elements to it. So it's very enjoyable and entertaining, but also, it can teach kids about, not being, very aggressive with race or whatever. And, just shows that it doesn't matter what color of skin you are, you love people because they're fucking people. So, yeah, because you got to keep in mind, that movie came out when I was like, I think 10. That was one of the first live action Disney movies I saw. It was like that and The Kid. You guys remember The Kid with Bruce Willis?
Oh yeah.
It was both of those movies. And I remember
and they were both Disney films.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like I think those were like two of the first like live action Disney films I remember seeing. And I was just so affected by Remember the Titans because I wanted to play football. I felt like I learned something as a little kid. I was like, holy shit, like this is – because even at 10 years old, I still could comprehend it. I was like, man, this is some powerful stuff. And you forget that it's Disney sometimes because they get pretty intense with like I'm not saying like they use like harsh language, but they do use some language to like against African Americans in the movie and stuff. And you're like, wow, Disney, you actually had some balls back in the day. Did they go as far as they could have? No, because like I said, it's a Disney film, but it's still inspirational. It's still a great football movie. And Denzel Washington has played one of the best football coaches in recent memory. So that's why I like Remember the Titans so much. And it's one of those ones I watched as a kid. Like I said, it has stuck with me. So, Brian, why is Remember the Titans important to you?
This movie would always play religiously in my house. My dad is a massive fan of this film. He loves this film to death. We are big Denzel fans. And like you said, it's like something very different for Disney. I think it could be argued as the best sports film Disney has ever done. And I think that it is a very rewatchable film. There's a lot of actors in these films before they got big. We got like Donald Faison, aka Turk from Scrubs, Ryan Gosling's in this film. Hayden Panettiere plays the little girl in this film. Mm-hmm. And I'm a massive fan of her because she is gorgeous AF. And there's a lot of stuff in this movie, and also you forgot to mention this. And even though this was just a scene that took place within 10 seconds, there was a guy that kissed another guy in this film, and they never put that in any Disney film or any PG films. Really, you gotta admit that was something that was a little risky.
Yep.
And I think, like you said, the football sequences are well done. Denzel's great as the coach, and there was another coach that was kind of competing for best film football coach, in my opinion. And that was Billy Bob Thornton in Friday Night Lights. Like he was so good in that film.
Well, yeah, like I said, it's a three-way tie for me. Like Denzel Washington in this one, Al Pacino in Any Given Sunday, and Billy Bob Thornton in Friday Night Lights. All three of them are great.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I even like Dwayne Johnson as the coach in Gridiron Gang. Like he's really good too.
I have never seen that. I never saw that.
It's one of the first rock movies I saw. 'Cause the first one I ever saw was The Rundown, and then after that I saw Gridiron Gang and Walking Tall. And Gridiron Gang was just one of those ones that kind of slipped under the radar, and it's really good because Dwayne plays a coach, and he goes to like a correctional facility for teenagers or whatever, and he starts like a football team, and in hopes to teach them about respect and discipline and stuff. And I thought that was really it's kind of inspiring, and it's a really good movie. I really enjoy it. So yeah, check it out if you get a chance. So yeah, we haven't we've been on a roll because I think last week we had the same movie at the same slot too. So we are channeling each other this week, guys. Yeah, so that's our number 4. So I guess we'll move on to number 3. Number 3, this is going to be interesting. I'm really curious to see Brian pick because my number 3, I don't know if he put it on his list, but we'll find out. So Brian, what is your number 3 slot?
Number 3, I'm going with a wrestling film, and that is The Wrestler.
Ladies and gentlemen, 2 in a row for this fucking same spot.
Let me start on this one. This film takes place in my state. Like, I want to start off with this one.
Okay, yeah, you go. That just fucking shocks me. Guys, this has never happened before. We have 2 in the same slot. So
In a row.
So take it away.
Okay, so in my opinion, this is the second best film that takes place in this state behind Garden State, and this film has been filmed like 10 minutes away from me. This film was being filmed when I was 9 years old. The film came out when I was 10. Obviously, I didn't see it then. There's a great story behind this film. My dad, like, you remember the scene where he has the heart attack in the movie, right? And then he goes to the hospital. My dad worked at that hospital for a while, and he wasn't in the day they filmed this movie. So if he was there, he could have met Mickey Rourke.
Wow.
He could have met Mickey. And my dad is a humongous Mickey Rourke fan. The Pope of Greenwich Village is one of my dad's favorite films ever, like ever. But this film, in my opinion, is perfection. It was directed by Darren Aronofsky, who directed like Black Swan, Requiem for a Dream. The wrestling sequences are great. Another great performance is Marissa Tomei, not only because she's very good looking for her age, but she actually gave a compelling performance, as did Mickey Rourke. And in my opinion, as great as Sean Penn was in Milk, I think Mickey Rourke should have won the Oscar for this film. I think he deserved the Oscar more than Sean Penn, because as great as Sean Penn was in Milk, Mickey Rourke did something a little more special than Sean Penn. And it's just a really heartbreaking film. I mean, this guy goes through a lot of stuff. Like, he was a gigantically famous wrestler. He didn't get to see his daughter often. He ruined his family life. He kept doing drugs. He kept drinking. This is a very heartbreaking story, and it's beautifully told. And I think it is kind of an underrated film. I don't think a lot of people talk about this film anymore. People talked about it when it came out, and no one has talked about it since. I think it's a perfect film. And if you haven't seen it, please do yourself a favor and check it out. It is such a beautifully made film. And I mean, like, as someone who lives in New Jersey, this is a special film because it's filmed in a lot of areas near me. So this is a very special film to me. I never would have thought that they would have made a film with 2 big people and an awesome director in my county. So that's great. The Wrestler, perfect film. My number 3.
Yeah, I agree. Listen, guys, Darren Aronofsky is one of my favorite filmmakers, period. And I debate all the time whether Requiem for a Dream or The Wrestler are my favorite or is my favorite. Everything he's done is fantastic. And the thing I like about Aronofsky the most in all of his movies, and this is very prominent in The Wrestler, is that he has a lot of emotional heft. When you watch Requiem for a Dream and you see the course of addiction through all these people, it is heartbreaking, especially from Ellen Bernstein's character. If you watch Black Swan and you see the emotional arc of Natalie Portman's character, the very last shot of the movie just kind of leaves you speechless. The Wrestler is the same way. Mickey Rourke has so much emotional weight in this movie as a guy that, you know, has been in this ring for many, many years, and he feels like he's lost his touch, and he just wants to get back in there because that's what he loves to do. And it's so brutal to watch. I feel like it's just really raw and gripping, and it kind of just grabs you and doesn't let go. And like I said, there's just so much emotional weight to this movie that you kind of get teared up a little bit, because like this is a guy that's like, you know, it does this sport to where he's supposed to act tough, but like in this movie we see all these layers being peeled back, and we see the inner core of this person, and it's just, he's human like everyone else, and he's got fears, he's got hopes, he's got he's got just everything about a human that you would want. And it just, I mean, there's really nothing more to say. Like what Brian said, it's just a really good emotional journey of this wrestler who's been in this business for years, and then he wants to come back in a very big way. I don't know. Like I said, I really argue all the time with myself. Like, well, is this the best one that Aronofsky's done, or is it still Requiem? I don't know. Just real quick on a side note, Brian, if you had to rank Aronofsky's films, how would you rank The Wrestler?
I think it would be number 1 in my opinion. And also another interesting thing about this, like you brought up like how the ended for Black Swan left you speechless. The ending for this left me speechless. I didn't like the way it ended. Honestly, I think it was a perfect ending because you didn't know what. And I'm not going to spoil it, but like if you didn't know like you had no idea what was going to happen, and you don't know what happened. You think maybe it ended happily or maybe it ended sadly. We don't know. And that's the beautiness of this film and most of Aronofsky's films, period. But yeah, Wrestler would probably be my number one Aronofsky film, competing with Black Swan, honestly. Requiem would be like number 3. It's like right there. Black Swan or Wrestler could be my number 1, but I prefer the Wrestler in the heartbeat.
Yeah, you know what's really funny? When people like put Requiem for a Dream pretty low on their Aronofsky list, I can't really get mad at them because it's one of the best movies ever made, but at the same time, it's a really hard movie to watch like over and over again. And so that's why people put it so low, because it's one of the best addiction films ever made, but it's a little rough to get through. So, but yeah, you brought up a good point. The Wrestler has a really good ending as well. Actually, all of his movies have really great endings. Yeah, Black Swan, like, oh man, I just think about that look that Natalie Portman gives and the line that she gives. I'm not going to spoil anything, but when she says it, you're just like, oh my God. It's the same with The Wrestler, same with Requiem. The emotional journey of The Wrestler is why you should watch it. And Mickey Rourke, definitely Oscar worthy. He should have won the Oscar that year. I totally agree. Didn't Marissa Tomei win for Best Supporting Actress?
She was nominated.
Okay, so well, everyone should have won for that movie. That is just a really good one, guys. So if you haven't checked out The Wrestler and see Mickey Rourke's kind of comeback, check it out. I think you'll definitely like it, especially if you're a fan of like wrestling and like the whole WWE and stuff. Watch a movie that like takes like a serious look at and stuff, and see like the emotional damage you can have as a person that does that for a living. So that would be my advice to you. So. All right, so are we going to fucking just tie everything up for 2 and 1? How is this going to go down? So I'm going to tell you right now, I battled between 1 and 2, flipping, flopping, flippity, flop, flop, fuck all day long. I did not know whether to put number 2 at 1 or vice versa. And when I give you guys my list, you're going to be like, you were flip-flopping on those 2? You'll have to hear me out. So we're getting down to our final 2. I know for a fact Rocky is somewhere on Brian's list. It just has to be. I also think, because Brian put it in the fucking thumbnail, he's got a thing for Kevin Costner movies. So, I'm going to say for Brian's number 2 is Field of Dreams.
You are correct. My number 2 is Field of Dreams.
Which means I know you're number 1.
Oh, damn. I kind of wish we had the same number 2. Fuck.
Okay, here, before you get started on that one, I haven't seen Field of Dreams in a long time to where I felt comfortable with putting it on my list, even though I saw it a long time ago as a kid. And I liked it because we actually have similar number 2s, but I'll get to that in just a second. But yeah, go ahead and tell people why you like Field of Dreams. I do like Kevin Costner a lot. I do like the movie, but maybe you can refresh my memory and refresh our listeners out there why it's just so good.
Well, I just watched it again last night to prime myself because honestly, I didn't know what baseball film to put. I really wanted to put one, but I just couldn't really put the one that I think you might have put.
Oh, so, you fucking know what it is. Don't play cool.
I already know what it is. I simply couldn't put that one because I haven't seen that one since I was a little kid.
Oh, no way.
That one I haven't seen since I was a little kid. Field of Dreams. Well, first of all, Kevin Costner, I love that man to death. And this, in my opinion, is the best film he's ever been in. I grew up playing baseball. I played baseball a lot when I was a little kid. I enjoy going to baseball games. My favorite thing about baseball the most is going to all the stadiums around the entire country. I've been to about 15 of them already, and I hope to accomplish by going to every single one in this entire country. That's my dream. Like, I really want to do that. But no, like, the film is so great because he's just a farmer and he builds a baseball field because people call him and these old players come on and they play and stuff. And this, by the way, is the nicest character that Ray Liotta has ever played. He is the sweetest soul in this movie. And just like with Remember the Titans, that is the friendliest character that Denzel's ever played. Denzel does not play friendly characters very often, but this is the most friendly character he's ever played. But Field of Dreams really is a well-made film. I don't know who the director is. I forgot the guy's name. But he did a very good job. I think this film was nominated for Best Picture. I don't remember. I had to think about it. But the best thing about this movie, in my opinion, is the incredible, beautiful breathtaking score by the late great James Horner. And I mean, just listening to that man's scores makes me cry because I really love that man's music. Like he did, he was a great composer, and I just miss him deeply. And I just really love the motivational story. Like Kevin Costner really has to do what he has to do in this film, and he feels like if he doesn't, then everything will go wrong. And it's a really beautiful, nice, heartwarming story. And you also have really good performances from James Earl Jones, who I mean, I just love watching him outside of Star Wars and The Lion King. I just love hearing him say stuff because I always picture Darth Vader because I am a nerd. I'm sorry, I'm a nerd. But yeah, it's a really just heartwarming story. It's really touching. It's really endearing, and I really do love this film, and I think it's excellent. It's very well made, very well written, incredibly well acted. Kevin Costner kills it here, and yeah, Field of Dreams, in my opinion, is the best baseball film we've ever had. And I can understand if someone says that this is the best sports film ever made. I could totally understand that. To me, it's not the best sports film ever made. But I already know why you're going to say what your baseball film is, why that one is the best one. But, you know, it is what it is. Field of Dreams is my number 2. Check it out if you haven't seen it. Film lovers out there listening right now, if you haven't seen Field of Dreams, I don't know why you wouldn't see it, because every film lover is required to watch this film. It's great, beautiful, perfect. Field of Dreams, number 2.
So we have the same number 4. So we have similar taste in football films. We have the same number 3. So we have similar taste in wrestling films. So now we get down to our number 2s. And mine is also a baseball movie. So let me set this up.
And I already know what it is.
Yep. So listen, I was born in 1990. And any movie that I see in that time period when growing up and it comes out and I love it, it's going to stick with me and I'm going to watch it over and over again. There was one film that did that in terms of sports movies. Now, I played baseball from 5 years old all the way up until 8th grade, and I enjoyed the sport quite a bit. Hit a couple of home runs in my day, and I was fat as fuck, but I was a good DH, good old designated hitter. And I remember there was a movie that came out.
Wait, you were DH?
I mean, that's what my team relied on me on.
I was an outfielder. So
I mean, I played first base a lot, and I played outfield just like you. But my team relied on me for the heavy hits because, let's face it, I'm a big dude. That's what you kind of want. So, because if you have a designated hitter and, you know, a person like me that's fucking huge, if I can knock it out to the outfield and it hits the ground and it starts rolling, then if someone's on second or third base, and if they're faster than me, they have a chance to come and score. So that's why I'm kind of important. I'm kind of like the you know, I push the points. You know, that's what DHs are for.
Yeah.
But I haven't played baseball since 14 years old.
Same. Actually, no, I haven't played since I was 10. Yeah,
so I mean, it's been a while for me, but I still enjoy the sport to death. And you know what's really funny is I actually enjoy playing baseball more than watching it. So
yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you.
But here's the deal. There was a movie that came out in the 90s, and every 90s kid is going to say the same thing. Now, a lot of people have a problem with like the last act of the movie because it does kind of stray away from the whole point of the movie. But I still found it overall a very enjoyable adventure about these kids that are playing baseball, and one kid's a fish out of water, and he comes into the group and he fits in. I mean, it's a little bumpy at first, but he eventually has friends for the rest of his life. And it's that time period when you were a kid and you reminisce back to your childhood, and you think about all the shit you did with your friends playing baseball in random lots somewhere during the summer days and stuff. It's just one of those feel-good coming-of-age films. It's a good baseball movie. It's a very funny movie, and it's just a nice little bonding adventure. I'm going with Sandlot, motherfuckers. This is, in my opinion, my favorite and the best baseball movie ever. Now, a lot of people will probably sit there and go, well, what about Major League? And what about like movies like Moneyball and stuff? Listen, it's all about personal taste, man. And I got to tell you, growing up in the 90s, if you ask any 90s kid that saw Sandlot and loved it, they're going to claim that as well. And I battled putting this as my number 1 or number 2 because I've seen this movie so many times, and like I said, I played baseball when this came out. So after I got done watching the movie, I would want to go play baseball outside, or go practice hitting the ball or whatever. So I just love Sandlot, man. I love, like I said, the camaraderie. Like, it's one of the best casting of kids I've ever seen in a film. Every single kid works, and they all feed off of each other. And it's got iconic lines like "You're killing me, Smalls." That's where that movie's from, and people say it all the fucking time. And I love do you remember the actor's name? The guy that plays the catcher. He's like the fat redheaded curly kid.
No.
He's great, and
I remember people telling me that would be me if I was fat when I was a kid. I was not. I was skinny when I was a kid. And people were like, "You know what? If you were fat, Brian, you'd be that kid." And I'm like, "Thank you very much."
I don't think you would, but it's also got one of the funniest kids eating tobacco scenes ever. So everyone remembers that scene. So no, it's just a really fun movie, and when you watch it, you reminisce back to your childhood. And you're like, that is what childhood was all about. Before the internet exploded, and you go hang out with your friends outside during the day and shit. And I love Scotty Smalls. I love that kid because everyone has been in that position where you move to a new town, you have to make friends and stuff, and he found his clique, and he eventually stuck with them as the years progressed. And that's those childhood friends, man, are some of the best friends you'll ever have. Now, my childhood friends, I don't talk to them that much, and I should talk to them more. But I do love the memories I acquired with all my friends from elementary school, middle school, and high school, because that was my gang, man. That's what we did. We hung out and we had a great time. That's what Sandlot does. It shows you what childhood is like, man. And if you had a childhood like that, Sandlot's going to really kind of hit you. But like I said, I think people have a real problem with the third act, because Brian knows what I'm talking about. Like, because it doesn't.
I haven't seen the movies in like 6 years, so I don't really remember everything too well.
This isn't spoiling anything, but like James Earl Jones is the neighbor, beyond the fence or whatever, and he has this giant dog that eats people, and one of their baseballs goes over the fence, and they need to get it back. And that's all I'm going to say. And so the whole third act is trying to get that baseball back. And a lot of people say the film kind of drives off the rails a little bit, because the whole film was about, the baseball and the camaraderie between the kids. And then once that happens, they're on this like Mission Impossible adventure. It kind of loses its footing a little bit. But I still find it a really good adventure, because guess what? If something like that were to happen, you would fucking do that with your friends. Like, you'd be like, oh shit, I don't want to get eaten by this dog. So like, we have to like, try to get like a rope or something to get it. So yeah, Sandlot. It's one of the best coming of age kid movies about baseball and baseball in general ever made, in my opinion. Brian, how would you like to come back with that and say, no, Field of Dreams is better?
I can't really complain about that. I like what Roger Ebert said about it. First, it says that he gave the film 3 stars, comparing the movie to a summertime version of A Christmas Story based on the tone and narration of both films. He said of one scene, there was a moment in the film when Rodriguez hit a line drive directly at the pitcher's mouth, and I ducked and I held up my mid. And then I realized I didn't have a mid. And it was then I also realized how completely this movie had seduced me with memories of what really matters when you are 12 years old.
Yeah.
Thank you, Roger Ebert.
That sums it up perfectly. So I totally agree. Sandlot. I actually bought it on Blu-ray like a couple years ago. It's like at a Black Friday sale at Best Buy. I was like, holy shit! And so like I picked it up, and it came with like baseball cards and stuff. It was a pretty good one. So all right, ladies and gentlemen, you want to talk about our number ones? Here we go. I already know what his number one is, but what's fascinating is we have the same sport as our number one, so we get to physically duke it out just like they do in the movies. Now, Brian, I'm gonna go ahead and say my number one right now. We're gonna do this out.
I already know your number one. I already know it.
I know. So, Brian, can you tell me why Rocky is a better film than Raging Bull? So we're gonna fight this out. We're gonna throw it down. We're gonna throw the gauntlets down. Take your gloves off. We're gonna fight dirty in the prison yards. So, Brian, okay, so let's start with you. So, can you say that Rocky is a better made film than Raging Bull, or is it just because it's special to you?
It's special to me. It's more special to me than Raging Bull. Raging Bull was such a hard film to watch. It makes me want to hurt myself.
Oh,
Not literally, but
low
still.
punches have already begun. Okay.
Hey, when we did our boxing films, this film was my number 2. Raging Bull was right there. Number 2. If Rocky didn't exist, Raging Bull would be number 1. It's the facts. Facts.
And guys, I'm playing with them. So
I know you are. That's how I am.
So, I mean, I still haven't seen Rocky, by the way.
I don't get that. I don't. I'm sorry.
Listen,
I don't get that. I'm sorry.
Listen, okay. At the movie selling place that's down the road from me, they have Rocky in the Steelbook.
Rocky is on Netflix. On Netflix.
Listen, motherfucker, I want to own it. So the Steelbook is like $10 on the Blu-ray. That's a pretty good deal, and I kind of want to just buy it.
Then buy it.
Sometimes I got other priorities. So I like Creed a lot, and I like Rocky Balboa a lot, and those are the only 2 I have seen all the way through. So I will.
At least you've seen good ones. That's good enough.
Yeah, exactly.
They all are good except for 5. But
so explain to me and the listeners out there why Rocky is your favorite sports film of all time.
This is so special to me. I grew up in a house where my father is a humongous Rocky fan. I watched all the films. I have seen the musical. I saw Rocky Balboa when I was 8 years old in the theater. And then I went to go see Creed on opening night with my parents. It was great. It was great. Rocky is a big part of my life. It's so influential to me because it is the true underdog story. It is the best underdog story depicted on film. And Stallone really did a great job writing the film. And his performance is stellar, and I really hope that he wins the Oscar for Creed. My fingers are crossed that he's gonna take home the award next Sunday night for Creed. I'm really hoping that, because his script should have won Best Script at the Oscars. I mean, the film won Best Picture. Look, and this is kind of gonna go off tangent a little bit. When a film wins Best Picture, the script should win too. That's how I see it. It's the truth. That's just how I see it. But it's just a great underdog story. Everyone goes through this where they want to be the best at what they want to do. And you can't always get that. And you have to train to be someone that might be the best. And this film shows it beautifully well in the streets of Philadelphia. I mean, Rocky is just a poor guy who wants to be a famous boxer, and he wants to find the girl of his dreams, that being Adrian, who played brilliantly by Talia Shire, and then he wants to impress his trainer, Mickey, Burgess Meredith, and his future brother-in-law, Paulie, Burt Young. Like, it's a great story, and then he has to fight Apollo Creed. I really love this film. I gets me every time. The theme song, just to running up the steps at the Museum of Art. I've done that before. It's the greatest thing, one of the greatest things I've done as a film lover. And I understand why Raging Bull is considered the best boxing film, but you have to agree that Rocky is more rewatchable because Rocky isn't as sad as Raging Bull.
Rocky is definitely the most influential boxing movie ever made. I'll give you that.
That's the thing. Like, it's such an influential story that it just works beautifully well, and I'm really glad that the film won Best Picture. I'm really glad that a film like this won that award. Which
is funny because I can't win this argument. Your movie has won Best Picture. Mine did not.
I don't know why yours didn't win. I think your film should have won Best Picture. It should have won that year. I don't know what won that year. I'll have to look that up when you're talking about it. But
mind that, like, Scorsese got screwed out of both of those movies with Taxi Driver and Raging Bull when he first started. It's like, I know those weren't his first movies, but like they were like his second and third and fourth movies. Like, it's like, dude, those are some of the best movies ever made, and like he's just now getting recognition now in the 2000s. Like, it just blows my mind.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like all the actors and stuff, but like yeah, Rocky really. I've talked about this movie way too many times on this show. I feel like I've said everything I need to say about this film, and in my opinion, it is my favorite sports film, and it is the best sports film I've ever seen personally. Personally, in my opinion. In my personal opinion. So Rocky's my number 1, and like I said, I have no problem with you putting Raging Bull as your number 1. That is not, I wouldn't argue with that. I wouldn't, and I understand why Rocky is on your list because you haven't seen it. So that's a understandable statement. So yeah, Raging Bull, go ahead.
You know what's really funny about our list is that besides number 5, we picked the same football movie, the same wrestling movie. We both had a baseball movie at number 2. We both had a boxing movie at number 1. That's pretty fucking awesome. All right, so with Raging Bull, I literally saw it last year, and I was blown away. I saw Taxi Driver before that, and I was like, oh my God, like I can't believe I've been missing out. And Raging Bull, I saw, and I was just completely blown away on how it was told. I love the fact it started out with fat Robert De Niro. Then we went back in time to see him as Jake LaMotta, the boxer, and then we go to him being fat again, and it's like it's one of the best character transformations I've ever seen in terms of someone that, you know, started at the bottom and like he fought his way to the top, and then he lost his way, and then he started just becoming like one of those rich assholes. He just doesn't appreciate his family and whatnot. And then I love the jail scene of when he's like banging his head across the brick wall and like he's punching and stuff. It's good because boxing is a film about determination, and the boxer never quits. It's all about that drive, and that's why I like movies about Southpaw, because that character never gave up, even with all the circumstances that happened. And it's the same way with Raging Bull, except this one's different because he did start out, you know, down here. He ended up here, but then he lost his way and he became a has-been. And it's kind of tragic to witness because he was considered one of the best boxers in his time, and now he's a nobody. And it's just really heartbreaking to see this character go through with that, with all the hard work and determination that he had as his younger self. And then when he got older, he was nothing. He lost everything. And that's why that jail scene is just so important. And Robert De Niro, my God, this guy literally gained weight and lost weight in the course of this production. And it's astounding. Like this guy, like, I don't know what the exact weight was, but I think it was like 30-something pounds or something like that. And you can see in the film that he was dedicated in this movie. I mean, Robert De Niro has always been a dedicated actor, but when you watch movies like Taxi Driver and Raging Bull, you can see the dedication there. So he's fantastic. Joe Pesci is always great. He plays his brother. The cinematography is really good because this was the first Martin Scorsese movie I saw that he did in black and white. And I'm kind of glad it was in black and white. There's something about it that adds like a grit to it. Like it's just really gripping when it's in black and white. And when the boxing scenes happen, you feel like you're there. Like you feel like you're watching this event like on it feels like you're watching it either in person or on television before, you know, color televisions were available or whatnot. And so it's got beautiful cinematography. It's very haunting. Black and white films are hard to light, by the way. And if you can light them very, very well, then you can have some of the best looking movies ever made. That's why black and white movies from back in the day, most of them are filmed to perfection because it is so much harder to film in black and white and light in black and white than color. So the cinematography is really good. And the way it's paced and the way it's edited, like I said, it just sucks you in, man. Robert De Niro's performance, he just drives that whole film, and it's just heartbreaking, man. It's just, I'm telling you, when you watch it and you get to the jail scene, you're like, holy shit, what happened to you? What happened to you, LaMotta? Fuck! So it's just a really well-made film, and it's one of the best films I've ever seen in my life, and it's one of the best sports movies I've ever seen. And when we get to the honorable mentions, I will show you that I like boxing movies. It's just, I think, since I haven't seen Rocky, this is the superior one to me. It just is. And it might be my favorite Scorsese movie. I don't know. That's a different topic for another day, but Raging Bull is my favorite sports movie I've ever seen. Just nothing else competes it for me. And I'm telling you this right now, and this is really weird because it's like getting super dark in my room. It was like kind of light out when we started, but like the clouds are like sinking in. So now I look like I'm filming in like this weird basement right now. So I apologize.
Oh, it looks depressing like Raging Bull does.
It's true. So, you know,
it's actually perfect.
It totally, I'll turn on the light after this, but, Yeah, no, just Raging Bull is just one of the best, man. And like I said, I literally sat here contemplating putting Sandlot as number one over Raging Bull just because I love both of them that much. And what's really funny is that I saw Raging Bull last year and I loved it immediately. I've seen Sandlot multiple times and I've loved it for 20 plus years. And so that one's got like the nostalgia factor and the Raging Bull's got like the new factor for me. So it's kind of cool how those compete. But Raging Bull, man, if you guys haven't seen it, it's one of the best Scorsese films ever made. Check it out for Robert De Niro's performance and character transformation alone. So, with that being said, guys, here, see, that's fucking weird. It's like super dark in here, but you can see the list. That's why his camera's awesome. So, as you can see, our lists are somewhat similar in regards to the sports and stuff, and we got a couple in the exact same place. But yeah, I recommend all of these, and this is going to be fun because honorable mentions, there are a shit ton. So let me switch over to the graphic. Brian, what are some of the ones that just barely made your list?
Oh, there's so many I can't really think of any on top of my head. Well, Friday Night Lights, Raging Bull, definitely. Happy Gilmore, Any Given Sunday, Jerry Maguire, Varsity Blues. I don't know why. The Sandlot, even though I haven't seen it forever. A League of Their Own. It's fantastic. Moneyball. 42 was really good. The Rookie. Do you remember that film, The Rookie?
Yeah.
Another Disney sports film?
I actually saw it in theaters, and I was shocked because I was like, oh my God, this movie's rated G, and they just said the word damn. So,
another nostalgic Disney film for me growing up was Angels in the Outfield with a really young Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That was so nostalgic for me. It was great. Tony Danza worked together, and then they reunited in Don John. I thought that was really awesome because Angels in the Outfield. Growing up, I watched the crap out of that film.
I did too. Do you remember? You know that McConaughey's in it too, right?
Oh, he is. I don't remember.
He plays one of the.
I haven't seen that film in a long time.
Yeah,
a long time. And then moving on to like boxing films, The Fighter, like I said, Raging Bull, $1 Million Baby, Southpaw, Creed, Cinderella Man. There's a lot of really good sports films. There's a lot of them. It's very difficult to like pick one that you don't really like. There's so many of them. It's a lot. I can't really think of any worse though. I just want to say that right off the bat.
I have one maybe.
All right. What are your honorable mentions?
For me, I have a few. Basketball. Like seriously, if you want to watch like a really kind of funny, corny movie, watch Basketball. Basically, they mix baseball and basketball. It's just ridiculous. It's so great. I like both versions of Bad News Bears. Funny story about the new one with Billy Bob Thornton. I remember I went to the theater. It's rated PG-13, by the way. There was a warning at box office that said, this movie has like nonstop language. Don't take your kid to it. And I mean, they're right. It's just like a nonstop like gutter fest of like foul language, pun intended.
I remember seeing that in the theater, and it's directed by Richard Linklater.
Yeah, and I actually like both versions, by the way. And
I have never seen the original version.
It's pretty good, and I would actually say that the Billy Bob Thornton version is just as good. It's like I don't understand why people crap on that.
Now I know my worst sports film. I already got it.
Oh,
I already got it. I got it.
Okay. Yeah, Creed for me is a great one. Southpaw. I don't know why people shit on that movie so much.
I really liked Southpaw too.
I gave Southpaw a fucking A, and I still stand by that. And I own it on Steelbook, by the way. Like that's how much I love it. I don't know what to say about it. I love me some Jake Gyllenhaal, and I think it's a pretty good movie. I mean, there's a couple of things I don't really care for, but overall, it's a very solid boxing movie. Dodgeball. I love that. That's a great comedy of a sport that you figured you would play. You played in like middle school, but grown men playing it is just always funny. Goon is a really good underrated hockey movie.
I have never seen that. I want to see that so badly. I am a huge fan of Sean William Scott. That's why I really want to watch it.
It's really good. Like, check it out if you can. And of course, I got to give a shout out to Mighty Ducks, man. Fucking Mighty Ducks with Emilio Estevez. Like, who hasn't seen that from the 90s?
I haven't seen that since I was a kid. There's so many like those films I haven't seen since I was a kid. Oh yeah, I looked this up. What is your opinion on Blades of Glory?
It's whatever.
Oh, you don't. I don't know why, but I really like that film so much. I don't know why. I don't know why.
I mean,
guess Will Ferrell skating is really funny.
it's whatever. Any Given Sunday, like I said, Varsity Blues, Friday Night Lights, We Are Marshall, which is the best McG directed film, by the way.
We Are Marshall.
And then Moneyball, the Nowitzki documentary, like I said, $1 Million Baby. And here is number 6. I'm not even joking. I almost put it as number 5. And you guys can give me fucking looks as much as you want. I will contend that this is my favorite Keanu Reeves movie besides John Wick. I love Hardball a lot.
I have no clue what that is.
Hardball is a very good one. Keanu Reeves coaches like a bunch of kids in the projects and stuff, and there's like a death scene at the very end, and it always gets me. Like every single time I watch it, I'm just like, no, why? So Hardball is a really good one.
The way you just reacted sounds like Keanu Reeves if he overreacted to a death. Sounds
That's
funny.
pretty much how it was. No, Hardball is an underrated movie that no one ever talks about, and Keanu Reeves gives a pretty good performance. Like it's actually really good. If you listen, is he one of the best thespians ever? No. However, Hardball does challenge him a bit, and he does have some pretty emotional scenes. I like it. Sue me. I've seen it so many times. Like I said, the death scene at the end gets me every fucking time. So this is a question I have for Brian after the dishonorable mentions, but he doesn't know about this, so I'll spring it on him in just a minute. So let's get to the dishonorable mentions. Brian, what is the one that you just don't like?
Oh yeah, actually. Oh wait, all right. My only dishonorable mention is Kicking and Screaming. I hate that film. I hate it. I don't like it. I think it's really dumb. I didn't like it when I was a kid. I still don't like it to this day.
It's harmless. It's a kid's movie. It's whatever.
It sucks. It's horrendous.
But
my worst is a baseball film. I'm going with The Benchwarmers.
That one's pretty bad. I saw like 15 minutes of it and I was done. I couldn't do it.
And listen, I actually like all 3 of these guys. I mean, say what you want about Rob Schneider. I think he's funny when he's funny. David Spade could be very funny. Have you seen Rules of Engagement? I have not watched the whole show. I've seen many of episodes of it, and I love him on that show. And John Heder, I mean, I love Napoleon Dynamite to death. And when John Heder is funny, he's funny. Like, when these guys are funny, they are very funny. But this movie is a Happy Madison production. It is so dumb. There's too many pop culture references. It's so stupid. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. It really is. These guys are the friggin' idiots. And this film just is so dumb. It's not funny. It really isn't. It really isn't. And another Happy Madison sports film. What do you think of The Longest Yard with Adam Sandler?
I actually like it.
I like it too. That's why I wanted to ask. I wanted to know if you liked it or not.
However, I'm not going to sit here and say it's the best version because I haven't seen the Burt Reynolds version.
Neither have I. And the funny thing is, Burt Reynolds was in the remake. I think that's very funny too. I think that was really funny.
So I haven't seen the original Longest Yard, but I hear it's very good. And but I liked Longest Yard. I think Chris Rock added a lot of comedic weight to that one. So yeah, the only dishonorable one I know. Listen, guys, I like spoof movies a lot. I really do. But this one was pretty embarrassing. It was The Comebacks. Do you remember this one from 2007? No one does. It makes fun of like football movies like Invincible and Friday Night Lights and Remember the Titans and stuff. It reminded me of like the Aaron Seltzer, Jason Freeberg bullshit comedies like Date Movie, Epic Movie, Meet the Spartans. Even though it wasn't done by them, it had the same like slapsticky PG-13 tone. I was like, get the fuck out of here. So that would be my worst one I've ever seen.
What?
So here is
that's weird. You know what the name of the guy that directed it?
What?
Tom Brady. A guy named Tom Brady directed a film called The Comebacks. Wait, you said parodies to football movies? That's hilarious. I think that's hilarious.
No, it's not. All right, so
not the movie. I said a guy named Tom Brady directed it. I think that's
whatever the fuck. Don't mention it again. So the question I want to ask you is which sports movie in the future are you looking forward to?
What else is there coming out? That's the thing.
You should have done your fucking research, dog.
Excuse me. Could you at least give me some films that are coming out soon?
I don't know. I have my answer.
Well, you know what? I help you with a lot of stuff. You can't help me out this one time.
I don't know any of them.
Is that really? Um, hmm. It, I mean, I think if everybody wants some, it's really considered a full-on sports film, which I don't think it is. I mean, yeah, baseball is like the main sport in it. I am looking forward to that film in a heartbeat. Like, I'm a massive Richard Linklater fan. I'm looking forward to that film. I am a big fan of Dazed and Confused. I'm really looking forward to that film. I just saw Race today. Thought it was a good film. Very long, way too long of a film. There were some things that could have been cut out, and I'm hoping that Lance Armstrong movie's decent too.
That's the one I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to the program quite a bit just because I'm a huge fan of Ben Foster. And I want to see how he portrays Lance Armstrong. The thing I like about it is if you watch the trailer, the one thing I like about the trailer is that it doesn't hold back. It shows like the dirty side of what Lance Armstrong went through when he lied about doping and stuff in front of the whole world, and it just looks like they're not going to hold back. They're going to go full throttle, and Ben Foster's been one of my favorites ever since Hostage. I can't wait for it. So that'll be the one I'm looking forward to the most, is the Lance Armstrong story, the program. So, all right. So that will do it for the episode, guys. But next week, what are we talking about?
I'm so excited for next week. Next week, in honor of I'm trying to do the 9. We are honoring the beautiful Kate Winslet. It's about time we honor her. It's about time. Been waiting to honor her ever since we started the show.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Kate Winslet. I'm assuming most of the people born in the 90s, first exposure to her was her actual exposure in Titanic.
That was mine.
And she's great in Titanic, by the way. It's not just because she's...
And by the way, I'm going to call a prediction right now. Me and Chase have the same number 1.
Yeah, we will.
We have the same number 1. It's the truth.
This is not even a question because it's one of my favorite films of all time. So, but we're not going to tell you guys. So you'll have to figure that out. If you've been watching the show for quite some time and you kind of piece it together, you can kind of figure it out. But yeah, we will definitely have the same number 1. It's not even a contest. However, I am going to have to look up the rest of her filmography to fill out 2 through 5, which I don't think will be too hard because I think Titanic will be on there somewhere, and then I'll have to look up the rest of her filmography. So, so that will be next week, guys. Will be top 5 Kate Winslet films in honor of 999, which I'm seeing on Tuesday.
And she's also up for an Oscar nomination right now, too, which is a coincidence because after next Saturday, the Oscars are happening.
That is correct. And that movie might be on my list as well, but I'm not gonna say if it will or if it won't. But yes, we will have the same number 1. That is a no-brainer. So all you guys listening out there, if you want to guess our number 1, go through her catalog and see which one we're going to pick. So, yeah, that will do it for this week's episode of Top 5 Saturdays Live. I want to thank you guys for listening. If you're listening on Spreaker, iHeartRadio, then you can click that video version if you want to see me and Brian flail around. And if you want an audio-only version of this podcast and you don't want to see our faces but you want to hear this beautiful, sexy podcast, then you can click on that link in the description below. So, Brian, where can the people find you online? However, I do have the header up, so there's Brian's Twitter right there. But Brian, do you want to go ahead and tell them?
Twitter Brian Sutfield 98 and on YouTube at Brian Sutfield.
Cool. So all those links will be in the description below. And here's mine right here. Oh yeah, those sexy headers right there. So you can just follow me at Real Chase Lee, and if you want to subscribe to this YouTube channel for more top 5 episodes that we do every single Saturday, that is what we do. So we'll see you guys next Saturday for the top 5 Kate Winslet movies. This was the top 5 sports films, and I want to ask you this as we close out. What is your favorite sports film? Top 5? Do you have a worse one? I want to know some of the bad ones because apparently I haven't exposed myself to that much. So what is some of your favorite or least favorite sports films? Comment, place, roll my face, and let me know. And the intro and outro music is done by my friends band Fervent Roze. Check them out as well, and the link in the description below. I'm Chase Lee. That is Brian Sutfield. This is Top 5 Saturdays Live. Let's play it out. Fucking sports movies, man. Yeah! Oh, man. Fucking Sandlot, man. You're killing me, Smalls. You're fucking killing me. All right. We'll see you guys next week.